Well, welcome to our
We're here to do relationship.
Yeah, welcome to our relationship segment. We call it Dear AM, where you watching us get to write to us about an issue in your relationship. We'll see how best we can handle it. Today, here is our letter which came through from Cape Coast.
To say it. Dear AM, it was one night when I woke up to urinate and didn't find my husband in bed. I got a bit worried. First, I went to the hall because he sometimes works there while I'm asleep, but he was not there. I went to the room of our two boys, but he was not there either. The only room left was that of my 13-year-old niece, who helps with house chores after school. Immediately I entered the room, I had the shock of my life. Here was my husband on top of my niece. I didn't know what to do. I almost fainted. My head started spinning. Dear AM, he started begging, pretending to be crying. I went ahead and reported the matter to our pastor. He advised we settle the issue at home. Dear AM, this was 4 years ago. Now, the recent debate on sex education has reminded me of this ordeal, and I want to report my husband. Besides, I have never made him touch me again since that incident. No sex. I want to even leave him. I am here just because of the children. Advise me, dear AM. Gertrude from Cape Coast.
All right, so that's Gertrude writing to us from Cape Coast. Shall we go over the letter again one more time?
This has been hard for me to say, but I have to say it. Dear AM, it was one night when I woke up to urinate and didn't find my husband in bed. I got a bit worried. First, I went to the hall because he sometimes works there while I'm asleep, but he was not there. I went to the room of our two boys, but he was not there either. The only room left was that of my 13-year-old niece, who helps with house chores after school. Immediately I entered the room, I had the shock of my life. Here was my husband on top of my niece. I didn't know what to do. I almost fainted. My head started spinning. Dear AM, he started begging, pretending to be crying. I went ahead and reported the matter to our pastor. He advised we settle the issue at home. Dear AM, this was 4 years ago. Now, the recent debate on sex education has reminded me of this ordeal, and I want to report my husband. Besides, I have never made him touch me again since that incident. No sex. I want to even leave him. I am here just because of the children. Advise me, dear AM. Gertrude from Cape Coast.
Well, thank you, Gertrude, for writing to us, Roland.
Yeah, and this conversation, I guess, has now come up because she had to avert her mind to the topical issue, which is still ongoing, about the comprehensive sexuality education. But I think that the instance where she noticed a thing, she should have taken action beyond what the pastor had said. The pastor had said they should resolve it amicably. So they decided to stay put, make sure that they buried themselves in the sand, or their heads in the sand, and said nothing was wrong. They wanted to move on. No sex for the husband, and no intimacy. But
for 4 years.
Yes, and you're staying because of the kids. I don't think is the best means by which you get to resolve the problem, because it looks like over the last 4 years, the problem had been there. Now, the husband had done something which in her own value system was not permissible. And if that is the situation, she should have first taken a certain position beyond what the pastor had provided, because that counseling purely, she was not in agreement. And if you're not having the same line of reasoning for any type of advice or situation that you tend to meet, then you have to take your own course of action. And I believe that she's waited 4 years. CSE has averted her mind to the predicament or the situation she finds herself.
Which is very interesting, because there are two different things. I mean, your husband sleeping with your niece, and us talking about comprehensive sexuality education. But I guess it triggers a lot of things, because even the CSE got people talking about LGBT with critics, conservatives essentially saying that this is going to lead us there. So I guess I kind of understand why this will all bring back something that you've personally experienced.
So look, with the situation that she finds herself also means that she's not giving the best for the home. And giving the best for the home means that you have to create a certain atmosphere of openness, a certain atmosphere of congeniality, in which everybody, the kids, the niece who has been affected, would get to see that mommy is talking to daddy, and they're just not feigning it, but they really mean that sort of communication and the lines in between them.
Yeah. All right. Listen, this is very huge. This is a woman who saw her husband in bed with her niece.
The underage niece.
Exactly.
We have to be.
I mean, it's huge. And this was 4 years ago. They've tried to deal with it. Not exactly deal with it properly, but they did some sort of talking. At least there was a pastor's intervention. But 4 years on, no sex. They're living together. But of course, she still has this on her mind. We called up one of our counselors, one of our very good committed counselors who has a lot of experience, to see how best we can handle this letter from Gertrude. So Auntie Flora Saki joins us via phone. Good morning to you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Madam Flora Saki.
Yes.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, and thank you.
Thank you too for responding to our call. So Gertrude's letter, I'm sure you've had time to look at it. How would you want to address it?
Yes, it's a difficult situation, but two wrongs don't make a right. She's struggling with forgiveness, and the unforgiveness, does us more harm than good. And forgiveness is not something you feel. It's not a feeling. That it's a choice. Since she has a pastor, I presume that she's a Christian, so I'll approach it from that plan. Spiritually, God says when we don't forgive, He also doesn't forgive us. And when we are not forgiving, we don't feel free going around. We lose our peace and our joy. We may even struggle with depression and all that. And forgiveness is a must for us. In a marriage, I believe that when you forgive the person, you protect your own marriage. And the unforgiveness, as she's going through struggling, is also a form of bitterness and all that, blocks our prayers, our fellowship with the Lord. In fact, years ago, I had an experience. I was leading a fellowship, a small women's fellowship, and we were dealing with unforgiveness. And as we forgave and released people from our judgment, I saw a gutter filled with garbage. And as we were releasing people from unforgiveness and our judgment, I saw an unseen hand taking out garbage from that gutter. And as the garbage was taken out by an unseen hand with a spade, I saw water flowing freely through the gutter. And the Lord was telling us that when we don't forgive people, our system gets choked, like the gutter with the garbage. But when we forgive them, the Holy Spirit is able to, flow freely through us. And if we don't forgive, we become a slave to the person who has offended us. For instance, if you have done me wrong and I can't forgive you, I become enslaved to you. Because when I'm eating and I remember you, I lose my appetite. If I'm sleeping and I wake up, I remember you, I can't sleep anymore. If I'm doing any, creative work or something, and I remember you, it means that I can't think straight. And it is said that when the unforgiveness is like, drinking poison and hoping another person will die. It also affects our relationships. When you are full of bitterness, you can't relate to people well. You become easily annoyed. You become, unbalanced in your judgment. And in fact, people, if, for instance, a career woman, who is a boss, goes through such a thing, it means that all the males under him will be victimized. Normally, unconsciously, when you are angry with a man, it's like every man has offended you, so you are not able to relate well with them. And then psychologically, you become unbalanced. Your judgment is poor. You may victimize people. You may overreact when you don't have to. And then emotionally, you become repulsive. You can't relate to everybody. You become depressed and when you are an angry person, you become repulsive. People cannot really relate to you. And then spiritually too, when you hold on to somebody's, sin, what somebody has done, if you are not able to forgive, you bind the person to the very thing you don't like. So if you live with somebody, whether a child or a spouse or a relative or whatever they do that you don't like, if you don't forgive them, that you bind them to the thing, that means that God cannot change them. But when you forgive them, you release them into the hands of the Lord to forgive. So forgiveness is not, it doesn't mean that the person deserves it, but it does you more good than harm. And sometimes the person you are even angry with may not know. And I think in her situation to withhold sex from a man for 4 years, you have pushed him into more, worse things. I'm sure that the man cannot be all these 4 years. He has not stayed alone. I'm sure he has explored other places, and it makes him even worse. And I can, imagine that the man who has been a husband who has been starved for about 4 years will be an angry man around the house, and it affects the children. She says she's still in the marriage because of the children. My children sense it when there's strife, when there's there's no peace between parents, and it affects them. Sometimes it makes them timid, it makes them wayward, it makes them angry, and all that. Sometimes it affects their schoolwork.
So Mama Flora, it's almost sounding like the effect of it is the woman's fault. Who went cheating in the first place? Who decided? And this is not just cheating, or this is not even going out. This is sleeping with family, right there.
I know. Yeah, it is a painful thing to go through. I'm not, underrating her pain. I'm saying that though the person is guilty, forgiveness does not really depend on whether the person deserves it or not. It's the way you value your own marriage. It will do her more harm than good by holding on to the pain or the anger. I'm not underrating her pain at all. In fact, nothing is more painful than having your husband, have illicit relationship with somebody especially your relatives, a girl who can be your child or other thing. But I'm saying that if you choose not to forgive, even though you are right, it may do you more harm than good.
Okay, but so Auntie Flora, can a relationship like that survive? Can it move on as though nothing happened? Could they become...
No. It's something that you struggle with for a long time, but you can give it a chance. You can give it a chance. Forgiving the person does not mean that what the person has done is not painful, nor that you are not hurt. But it's a choice. It's a choice you make. Often you do it with your will, and then God Himself will bring the feeling later. And it's something that even if you forgive now, something will happen that will trigger the anger or the pain again, and you still forgive again.
Okay.
After some time, you don't feel it, but you feel it for after some time. It doesn't, you may even remember, but it doesn't bring as much pain as you feel now.
Okay, so Auntie Flora, can I say that I forgive you, but I can't seriously live with you as a husband? I can't continue with this marriage.
And sometimes divorce brings more pain than, forgiving. And when you forgive, the pain will go with time. It's something divine. God Himself will work that out. You may not, forget the pain in a day. It may take years, but with time it will go. A lot of women have done that. That's why they have survived. But the thing is that leaving the marriage may not even help the children. Divorce, you don't know who your husband will marry, and then will bring untold pain to your children. And sometimes you yourself, you are a wife. You have lived, I don't know the age of the children, but it can also be that at a certain age in life, you can't, expect to relate to men who are not married. So it means that you also will be going after other people's husbands when you are lonely, and then you feel a need for companionship and that. So the stakes are high. I'm not underrating her pain at all. It's one of the painful things a woman can go through when you are betrayed by your husband, especially with somebody and when under your own roof with a child. So she should also ask herself what went wrong. I'm not vouching for the man at all. It's a very bad thing on the part of the man. But sometimes it's a weakness. Sometimes it's a weakness from the family background. Sometimes it's also things she allows in the house. some wives allow those households to do too much for their husband. If you make the helper cook, sweep the bedroom, do the things that you should be doing, invariably the man will begin to see his wife in that person. And this thing, and sometimes it's an attitude also in the marriage. If a man is by nature, survived by the wife's submission, it's a deep emotional need in the God placed in the husband. The husband needs respect, and he needs his wife to be submissive. Sometimes you don't value. The man he doesn't get the attention he needs, or he doesn't think that you value him enough. Some of us women can sometimes become so obsessed with our pastors that everything pastor, and the man feels left out. He feels that he doesn't matter to you and all that. That can drive into another person around. I'm not vouching for the man at all. It's a very bad thing he did. But the better way out is to forgive and move on. Because if you break the marriage too, that will also be another thing. You don't know how it will affect the children in their future.
Okay.
After all, she says it's because of the children that she's still in the marriage. So it is not, in the eyes of man, it's unfair. But it will help if you forgive and then move on. The feelings will not come immediately, but you can will to forgive.
Okay.
And as you pray for the person, the feeling will come later on. And you will be blessed, because you see more. Sometimes some people might even change after this embarrassment and scandal. And but if you leave the man to himself alone, you can even make him worse. I can imagine what he's been doing these 4 years without sex from his wife.
Yo, Auntie Flora, Roland also wants to come through.
Yeah, but in all this conversation, we seem to have been leaving out the minor. A 13-year-old definitely, I'm not sure, just stood up and decided to go and have...
To sleep with her auntie's husband.
Exactly. And so the question then will be, one, if that person had been taken advantage of, then that also becomes a matter of criminality in the first place.
Yes. Often the adult will be intimidating the child. Probably the child she was not a willing partner, but probably feared the man. That sometimes, some men will even put fear in the child that if you tell anybody, I'll kill you and all that. So it may have a psychological effect on the child. Should be timid, should be, should not be free around the house. Should be afraid that the auntie will find her. She may not even like the whole idea, but because the man is, the man puts fear in her. Sometimes it also can be true that the girl, likes it because he probably gives her money on the side and all that. But it will affect the child's future, her own future relationships and marriage. And then sometimes it affects their schoolwork. And some girls, when they start being active, sexually active, become rebellious, disrespectful and all that. So it will not, the girl will suffer from it, not only physically, but also psychologically and emotionally and all that.
Well, let's assume that the minor, the 13-year-old, is the one who is the victim here.
Yes.
And the letter is telling us that she has averted her mind to what transpired 4 years ago because of the ongoing debate about CSC, and which basically, if we have to leave all the related concerns about LGBT rights or LGBTQ rights, would mean that the authorities say it is supposed to make young people, those from the infant and younger ages, more aware about their rights. They will be sexually sensitive and will get to know what the do's and don'ts are, and could have fended off some of these. Would you say in this regard then these issues put the matter into proper perspective about why children need to know, and then reports and etc.?
I think a child can be counseled and then told what to do, how to come out of it. And the question again, please.
I'm asking, there's the debate about CSE, and this is mentioned in the letter, that the child needs to be given the empowerment, needs to be educated, needs to be told that that child has the right, the human right to her own sexuality and how she wants to uphold it. And I'm saying in this instance, if the child was then conscientized, educated from young age in school and up to 13, if the man was making the approach, she could have said, look, what the man was doing was wrong, and would have found the appropriateness, the awareness to report.
And sometimes the circumstances, you know, I'm sure basically most of the children will know that doing this with my uncle, my aunt's husband is not right. But sometimes there are circumstances, you will think something like, why is she staying with the auntie and her husband? Maybe her own parents are not able to afford. So she will think that, well, if I muddy the waters, if I expose the man and the things come out and there's confusion, I will have to go back to my parents, and they probably may not have, you know, the wherewithal to look after me, or probably maybe I have to go and live in the village and I want to be in Accra, that kind of thing. So it depends on the circumstances. But if the person thinks that it will be okay to stay, probably she will tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Auntie Flora, thank you very much for this good advice and the counseling. You're saying that the woman should make amends, forgive, and also forget.
Yeah, it's not easy, but
that's the title of a song. Yeah. Doesn't happen in real life.
Thank you, Madam Flora Saki, for your time this morning. We want to throw the issue out to you out there, 03022116. No, 030222. No, you know, I'm just mixed up with the radio numbers in my head.
Okay,
so let's get the numbers will be on the numbers on your 030221169102. Give us a call now and have your say on this matter. So here's Gertrude writing to us from Cape Coast. Caught her husband sleeping with her niece, her 13-year-old niece. They're still living together, except that they haven't been intimate for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
She's thinking about leaving, except that there are children in the picture, and she's only staying because of the children. We spoke to Madam Flora Saki, who is a counselor, who says forgiveness. And I'm just thinking that, I mean, that's forgiveness, because she seems to think you can forgive and allow the relationship, you know,
to move on.
Yeah. So try it.
Yeah.
Give the relationship a chance. But I'm thinking that it's not so easy. She agrees that it is not easy. What should Gertrude do? If you think you have any views that you want to share, kindly give us a call right now. 030221169102. It's our Relationship Friday. Maybe we can bring the letter back to you. This is Gertrude from Cape Coast writing to Dear AM.
It has been hard for me to say, but I have to say it. Dear AM, it was one night when I woke up to urinate and didn't find my husband in bed. I got a bit worried. First, I went to the hall because he sometimes works there while I'm asleep, but he was not there. I went to the room of our 2 boys, but he was not there either. The only room left was that of my 13-year-old niece, who helps with house chores after school. Immediately I entered the room, I had the shock of my life. Here was my husband on top of my niece. I didn't know what to do. I almost fainted. My head started spinning. Dear AM, he started begging, pretending to be crying. I went ahead and reported the matter to our pastor. He advised we settle the issue at home. Dear AM, this was 4 years ago. Now, the recent debate on sex education has reminded me of this ordeal, and I want to report my husband. Besides, I have never made him touch me again since that incident. No sex. I want to even leave him. I am here just because of the children. Advise me, dear AM. Gertrude from Cape Coast.
Oh, so we have the lines activated.
Yes, we've got Kafui on the line. Good morning, Kafui.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
So, what do you have to say to Gertrude? She's watching.
Good. First of all, what the man did is not right. That is the underlying situation.
Mm-hmm.
By then, I sincerely believe that the pivot of marriage is also forgiveness. seeing the life of other people that will be destroyed as a result of the break in the marriage. In fact, to be very fair with you, I have cheated on my wife before. But after she forgave me, in fact, since then from that, I've never tried doing it again. Why? In my case, she traveled for almost 4 years, and it happened that way. So we might not know even what necessitated that. And also
but Kafui, this is a niece, so this is a niece. You know, I was just telling Roland that if he had perhaps maybe gone out to do it with somebody who wasn't related, but this is my niece. How do I live with that? Yeah, that's why I started by saying that it is very wrong. It is not the right thing to do. Living outside is so very bad. You understand? It has its consequences. But I would advise the lady that, look, it is wrong, but then you should find a place in her heart to forgive her husband and move on. Okay, Kafui, let me ask you. Let me ask you because of the peculiar place that you're coming from. You know, when you begin to when a woman wants to talk to you about something that you've done, she goes beyond the immediate thing, and there will be questions of, is this the first time? Have you done it before? How long ago? Should he be open to discuss everything that she throws at him?
In fact, in the ideal situation. Hello?
Yes, Kafui. Yes, we can hear you.
You know, each person and the way he or she can manage certain information that is given to the person. Yeah. So if you know how your wife or your husband temperament and the way he takes certain things, then you should be very cautious the kind of things that you say. Because you may be surprised that in the bid to open up everything, rather for the whole matter. You understand? I believe in the truth, yes. Make sure that you go to points. You just make the points straight without elaborating so many things. Because in fact, women, we know. You come back and be asking, where did this one happen? How many times? Did you enjoy it? Didn't you enjoy it? I mean, these things doesn't matter. The most important, the thing has happened. I'm very sorry it happened that way. You try to assure her that it will never happen again. You understand? I mean, Roland there is a man. He will tell you our makeup is different from women, the way they are.
That is no excuse. That is no excuse, Kafui.
No, I'm not justifying.
You are putting me on point.
I'm not justifying it.
But thank you. But your marriage is back on track, right?
Come again?
Your marriage is back on track.
Oh, very, very. In fact, very, very.
Nice. I like the sound of that. Thank you very much, Kafui, for opening up to us this morning here on the show. Thank you.
Well, definitely. Yeah. We have to go to Kaswa, where Ibrahim is on the line. Ibrahim.
Yeah, hello.
Ibrahim, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah. You had the story, the counseling thereof also. You want to contribute. What's your point?
Yes, please. First of all, I just that the man is wrong, and well, the woman has to forgive the husband, though it has happened that way, unfortunately. But the problem is sometimes it comes from the women. The women, they just forget. They forget and leave all the duties for the people they live with, and sometimes women, the one that is closer to us.
Well, are you holding brief for the man? I'm not. The tone of the letter doesn't suggest that the woman was being negligent, either in doing whatever it is that her responsibilities in the marriage, whether sexual, emotional, or whatever.
Well,
Are you coming from a place? Have you been exposed to something like that yourself?
Oh no.
So, what would you advise?
This is hard.
You see, sometimes, for instance, like the way I was saying, I think because it's abnormal for a man to do something like that. It's abnormal. Something may happen.
Okay.
Before the man managed to go on there.
So you think that something may have pushed him to do what he did. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We respect where you're coming from. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have Ebenezer also on the line. Ebenezer,
Yeah. Good morning.
good morning. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the Ashanti region, Kukufu, in the Ashanti region.
Okay.
Fantastic. Okay, please, you heard the story. Please go ahead. Make your contribution now.
Yes. The woman said she talked to her pastor, so I'm getting the impression that she is a Christian, so to speak. And if it's been 4 years, absolutely 4 years, and she has not been able to forgive him, then I think it's very difficult. It's living with some emotional stress. And so I would advise her to go. Besides, Christianity is for divorce, it's fornication. And that's exactly what the man has done. And this is also annoying in that we're doing it with the lady's needs. And so the lady has the basis, the biblical basis to get a divorce. And if it's been 4 years and she has not been able to forgive the husband, then I think she should free herself from the emotional stress that she would go through by just letting go.
At what point in time do you think the woman would need to come to terms with what the situation is for her? Because at the end of the day, it's not easy to always say, I'm forgiving, but I'm forgetting.
Exactly. And so you might forgive the man, but then, as you rightly said, forgetting might be another thing. And not sleeping with the man for 4 years clearly shows that she can't. It is just beyond her ability to forgive the man.
All right. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Let's speak to Ebenezer from Obuasi. Good morning, Ebenezer.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you for calling. Let's hear you.
Morning, Ebenezer.
Yeah, I think that if the woman thinks that she cannot, yes, if the woman thinks that she cannot continue, why she's still there? I mean, because this nonsense thing.
Oh, she says it's the children.
Must stop.
She's mentioned the children.
You said the nonsense thing must stop.
She's mentioned the children.
Because,
That's the reason she's still
this
there.
is the way that men every day, men, you go and do and you are forgiving. Why? You see, the difference between the fact that we just have to be disciplined. I mean, most men, we are not disciplined. And until we become disciplined, because the fact of the matter is, the possibility to have this last will not go away simply because you are married.
So you don't agree that maybe there's something that didn't go right in the home? Something may have pushed you to do that. You don't buy that.
No, it is not anything that's going on with the woman or not. I mean, we just have to be disciplined. For instance, if my wife do this, you not even have the opportunity to explain me. Because as you said, if you were to explain, for how long have you been doing this? And I wouldn't have time to, listen to this. Let us be disciplined, and we will have a problem-free society.
So you think she should just pack out?
If she thinks so, it's a choice. I mean, for me, I think that should be the best way.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Staying for 4 years with that, it means that she's gone, just that stay in the house.
Yeah.
She's almost like a ghost in the house.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we've got Nelson from
we've got Nelson from Kufodia. Nelson, good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland and Mama V.
Thank you. How's Kufodia?
This problem is a very difficult one. In fact, I have to clap for the lady for even having the courage to still stay in the house for 4 years. This alone shows that still the love is still there. But it's just that sometimes it's very difficult to get something like this. Even if it were to be somebody outside, could I be a bit better than there's somebody who is more or less your own daughter. This one, if it is an error, it's not going to be easy. But what I want to tell the lady is that she has endured it for 4 years. If it is something that she left the man or whatever with the children, that one, it will be difficult to come back. But if you just assume that she is already in it and forgive and forget, it is not it is not easy. What the man did is an abomination, condemnable. But I'm pleading with her that for the sake of the children, as you rightly put it, you don't know which woman will come in and the treatment that will be given to your own children over there. So that is the right thing for her, and God bless her for at least holding on up to Jesus. We should just capitalize on that and then look at God and then forgive the man and move on with their life.
Nelson, thank you. Thank you. I think we'll probably have our last call, our last two calls on the subject. We've got Alexis, Roland.
Yeah, Alexis, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Upper West, Nandom, specifically.
Nandom. Okay, please go ahead with your contribution on the subject or your own take. How would you counsel the gentleman or the lady?
I have to condemn the man for the act. But the woman just have to forgive the man. That's what I see. Come again?
No, but she's been trying to deal with it for the past 4 years. Obviously, it's not going away.
Yes, she's living there because of the children. And if she will have to be living there because of the children, if she doesn't want to move because of her children, then the only option is to forgive the man and make amends, and then they move on with their marriage.
Okay.
That is how I feel it.
Okay. Alexis, thank you very much. You put it in the simplest of forms this morning. We've had varied views on this, Roland.
Yes, definitely. And everybody and the way they will deal with such a matter.
But I think forgiveness reigns through all the phone calls that we received this morning. Of course, Madam Flora Saki started with forgiveness.
Well, definitely.
There was one person, who, and I'm beginning to agree that if she hasn't been able to deal with it for the past 4 years, then it means that it's not easy for her.
Yeah, definitely. And, the makeup of women are different. And we're talking about somebody who is supposed to have an emotional and sensual attachment to somebody. What she saw, I don't know how she can synchronize. It's not the first time. There are some others who could overcome. Maybe for her, it's just a peculiar situation.
Talking as a woman, I think she's really, Gertrude has done really well by staying, actually, after what she saw. I wonder how they resolved the issue even with the niece. Did they inform family? Is the niece still living with them? Has she been cancelled? Has she been spoken to? Do they know the psychology and things like that? I mean, it's a whole whatever it is. I couldn't live with that, actually. That's a fact.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but sometimes they say you say it, but if you're in it, then you'll be confused. You're thinking, should I walk or should I stay? There's something else that doesn't allow women to easily walk away even when they want to, and that's self-sufficiency. Is she, because she's thinking about, because if she's not able to take care of the children by herself, then it means that, like somebody said, some other woman will have to come in and take care of your children, and that ain't happening in my life. So and a lot of women will say that too. So I'm sure there are lots of things playing out, reasons she may not easily even walk away, but further counseling would help. I think you should move away, Gertrude, from pastor. Just go and see a psychologist, talk to a clinical psychologist, move it from there, let it be professional. And if you can't honestly live with him, I think the two of you should get together and talk. There are people who have separated who are still taking care of their children.
True.
Yeah.
I think both ways they should be able to find some amicable resolution to the subject.
Yeah.
I mean, if they know that they want to separate, then they should find some good places and make time for the children. And make sure they are brought up well. If they want to stay together, then they better stay.
Yeah. Well, Gertrude, thank you so much for writing to us. It is our prayer, really, that we've been helpful to you with all the calls and the intervention from our counselor, Madam Flora Saki. If you need her to further talk to her, just let us know. Write back to us. We will link you with her. But you can also write to us if you're watching. You want your letter to be the one that we read next. Kindly write to us, info@myjoyonline.com. It's Dear AM, info, INFO @myjoyonline.com. Kindly write to us. Well, still ahead on our show, we've got a comedian, Obi Amponsa, is on our show this morning. It's a Friday, people. We've worked so hard.
Yeah. Time to at least relax and transition into the weekend while we wait for Monday. And Obi Amponsa is next.
Yeah. And the Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, we're talking about Legon. The boys are up to something this weekend. They're on the show this morning to share with us. Of course, we also have show business, which is brought to us courtesy Awake Purified Drink and Water. So lots of fun things to look forward to. Kindly stay.